Hello, I'm Dr. Russell Dawn, President of Concordia University Chicago. Thank you for tuning in to today's Cougar Athletics broadcast. We take great pride in the strength of both our athletic and academic programs, which are rooted in our steadfast commitment to Jesus Christ. Dedicated to the liberal arts as a foundation of a high-quality college degree, we believe education should form individuals for service to their neighbors. This makes Concordia Chicago an exciting and fulfilling place to study, work, learn, and grow. Learn more today by visiting cuchicago.edu. Thank you, and go Cougars!
Good afternoon, Cougar fans, and welcome to Concordia Stadium for today's CUC regular season matchup between the visiting Regents of Rockford University and the Cougars of Concordia University Chicago. I'm Parker Kelly, joining you live from the Cougar Sports Network, joined by color analyst Peter Borkowski, who'll be chiming in from time to time. Real quick, going to go over the starting lineups just in case you missed it. First, for the Regents, in goal is number 0, Kaylee Taylor. A midfielder, number 2, Peyton Scott. Defender, number 3, Bianca Tovar. Midfielder, number 4, Mia Osler. Midfielder, number 7, Daisy Martinez. Forward, number 10, Rihanna Tovar. Forward, number 11, Sela Bonza. And a forward, number 16, Tessa Del Rosario. Defender, number 17, Jasmine Pinedo. Forward, number 20, Jolene Alvarado. And defender, number 22, Emily Perea. And the head coach of the Regents in his second season, Michael Havistek. And for the Cougars, in goal, number 0, Brooke Sheriff. Number 2, a defender, Hannah Bowers. Midfielder, number 3, Allie Brown. Forward, number 5, Megan Wilkinson McQuaid. Forward, number 7, Jamie Siebert. Midfielder, number 9, Pamela Saldivar. Defender, number 12, Valeria Fernandez. Midfielder, number 13, Lucia Falone. Forward, number 17, Melika Kenworthy. Forward, number 21, Juliana Paulson. And defender, number 33, Lorena Jaimes. The Cougars are coached also in his second season by Eddie Garza, as both teams gearing up for the opening kickoff. The Regents in their all-purple kits with white lettering and numbering. The Cougars in their all-whites with maroon lettering and numbering, as senior Juliana Paulson getting set for the opening kickoff, and we're underway in River Forest.
Well, Parker, I don't think I need to talk about just how important this game is for the Cougars. Still looking for their first win of the year. They're still looking to score their first goal of the year as well. So being able to do that all against a conference opponent nonetheless. This is the first conference game of the year. This is a big one for CUC, and a win here against Rockford is going to make that 0-for record right now look a lot better at the end of the day.
CUC play starts today for both teams. Really exciting time, especially for the Cougars as they're hosting this conference matchup. Cougars have had their fair share of struggles on the offensive end, as you mentioned, Peter, have yet to score a goal on the season. We see that shot going over the net. Offense will be a major focus for Coach Garza and his team today against a pretty solid Regent squad.
Yeah, defense has always been strong under Coach Garza since he took over for the team last year. This is very much a gridlock style of defense. They're just going to muddy things up. as we almost had our first goal of the year right there. But offense has kind of been the big question mark during Coach Garza's career. He's kind of missing that one high-powered forward who's going to be able to get you a goal every game or so. But on the plus side of that, you figure once they get this offense figured out, once they get it in tune, this team's going to be a dangerous one in NAC play. They just got to get there first.
The leading shot taker for the Cougars is Jamie Siebert with 9 shots. That shot over the goal, I believe that was Lucia Falone. The Regents have a pretty solid goalie in junior Kaylee Taylor. Taylor 10th in the NAC in saves per game with about 4.5. Pretty solid numbers for the junior out of Newark, California. The Cougars working with it towards the far sideline. Transition back into the middle of the field. Ball's now in the hands of, the foot of McQuaid. Cougars trying to get anything they can going on offense. Siebert has that one taken away from her. Bowers, that'll go off the knees of Tessa Del Rosario for the Regents. We'll get the throw in right there from Bowers.
Well, Parker, you mentioned Rockford's goalie, and the Cougars, they got a pair of good goalies themselves, a couple of sophomores. Brooke Sheriff, she's getting the start today in 90 minutes of play. She's allowed no goals while making 4 saves, and currently on the bench is the player who's received the majority of starts so far this year. That's Alani Burnell. She's got 25 saves to her 8 goals allowed, so whoever Eddie Garza decides to throw in net for his team, he's got a solid goalkeeper in it, and that's, again, one of the big reasons that despite not having that goal yet on the year, the Cougars have been in a lot of these first games.
Sheriff making her first start of the season, has come in relief typically for Alani Burnell. But Sheriff, the sophomore out of Simi Valley, California, also has some impressive numbers in relief duties. And Coach Eddie Garza looking to see how she does with the start today. Player definitely to look out for as the Cougars, as the ball trickles in out of bounds, will get another throw in from the Cougars.
Yeah, it's got to be a good feeling for Coach Garza when you know that whoever you throw in net, whether it be Sheriff or it be Burnell, you're going to have a good performance out of your goalkeeper.
Both goalkeepers have been very reliable this year. One of the highlights for the Cougars in this young season. Now the Regents take back possession on the offensive end. They're marching down the far sideline.
Yeah, first time we've really seen Rockford come down to this end of the pitch. CUC doing a good job keeping the offensive pressure on Rockford. And on that goalie, Parker, who you talked about, Kaylee Taylor, the junior. CUC trying to put some pressure on, got a few shots off. It's a good start to the game offensively. Now let's see how the defense look. Let's see how Sheriff looks if any shots come her way.
Cougars have been primarily a defensive team, has started out a little hot on the offensive end, which is going to be a focus throughout the rest of the regular season. So we'll get a free kick right here from the Regents.
Yeah, as important as defense is, you can't win any games if you don't score any goals. So, again, once that offense gets unlocked, this team's going to be a good team to watch for in terms of NAC play.
Now the Regents working with it. Lucia Falone playing tough defense. Now Paulsen dribbling down the pitch. She has that ball almost taken away by the Regents. The Regents are able to corral, get the ball back on the offensive end. Now Bowers comes up trying to make a defensive stop. She's running with Bonza. And that ball will go out of bounds. Pretty good to start defensively for the Cougars.
Yeah, you see them do that a lot where if they get possession on on defense deep on their own end of the pitch, even if they're not immediately pressured, they will kick that ball out of bounds, give their defense some time to reset, and hopefully look for a better clearing method like they are right now.
And now Siebert trying to track it down, not able to get to it before it rolls onto the track, will result in a throw-in from the Regents. Regents coming into River Forest today with a 3-1 record, 2-0 on the road this season. So pretty solid road team as they look to try to steal one from the Cougars. Meanwhile, the Cougars trying to defend their home turf, looking to get their first win of the season. And if they were able to get the win today, it would be a big one.
Yeah, again, they might be 0 for right now in terms of the wins column, but a win here is going to be kind of make everything all right. The plus of being 0 for, not even plus, but kind of the silver lining is they haven't, all those losses were against non-conference teams, and now that you're starting your conference schedule, they will have one more non-con this week actually on Sunday when they welcome Lake Forest to River Forest. Got to get our forces straight there here in Chicagoland, but that'll be the last non-con on the season. So speaking on today, in terms of beginning conference play, you're essentially starting your season over. You're 0-0 in conference play. That's what matters when we get to tournament time at the end of the year. Who makes it, who doesn't make it. So kind of Coach Garza had those non-cons to figure out his roster, figure out what's working, what isn't working, and now he's got an 0-0 record to play with as we move ahead in conference play.
And obviously you don't want to lose any match, but what really matters is that conference play in the regular season. And it's go time for the Cougars. Peter, you mentioned that last non-conference game of the season on Sunday against Lake Forest. But other than that, straight NAC play throughout the remainder of the season. So the Cougars want to get hot at the right time. As goalie Kaylee Taylor come in and get free kick. She'll kick it to teammate Mia Osler, who we'll talk about a little bit later on. Osler, one of the better players on this Regents team, the junior from Las Vegas, Nevada. Cougars trying to take back control on offense. Regents marching it right down the pitch. Cougars have two backline players, as a nice save right there from Sheriff. Basically kicked straight into her hands.
Yeah, one of those confidence builders. I mean, I'm a goalie, not a soccer goalie. I'm on the lacrosse field, but I can say as a goalkeeper, having that first shot you face on the day be, not that any save is particularly easy, but having that first shot be kind of a gimme save, one straight to your hands like we saw there with Sheriff, that does a lot for building your confidence. You got your first save under your belt. You're not going to go the whole game without making a save, so hopefully that loosens Sheriff up and net, so when it is time to make those more difficult saves, she's ready to do it. She's got that confidence.
The Cougars are fourth in the NAC in saves with 29 so far. Attacked that last one by Sheriff, and it's 30. So the Cougars have been very solid in goal here in the first 4 games of the season.
Yeah, again, goalie has not been the issue for the Cougars. That's not the reason they're coming into today 0-4. The most they've lost a game by is 3. Other than that, they've lost by 1, and 2 games they lost by 2. So goalkeeping, like you said, Parker, has been excellent all year for CUC. Between Sheriff and Burnell, they're keeping the Cougars in these games. And like I said, once that offense is capable of putting up a few goals a game, they're going to be looking much, much better because you have those goalkeepers to keep that score low enough that even an offense who might be performing slightly below average, only scoring maybe 2 goals a game, sometimes that's going to be enough if you got a couple hot keeps in net.
Yeah, only allowing an average of about 2 goals per game. Not bad statistics for the Cougars. The issues lie within the offensive end. As we mentioned, the Cougars not able to score a goal yet this season, trying to turn things around against the Regents this afternoon. Get a throw in right here from the Cougars. A beautiful day for soccer. A little bit of a cooler day here in River Forest, just under 70 degrees, partly cloudy. Pretty nice conditions for today's soccer match.
Finally starting to feel like fall in River Forest and Chicagoland in general after some pretty hot days at the beginning of September, at end of August. And I know these players who are, running out on the turf for maybe 90 minutes, close to 90 minutes a game, they're going to really appreciate that weather. And who knows, maybe that'll make things a little easier for these players. Obviously, the cardio aspect is still there, but running constantly in 90-degree weather on turf is a lot different than doing it on 72-degree weather in turf.
Absolutely. We'll get a throw in right here from the Cougars, looking to take advantage of a golden opportunity on the offensive end. Cougars haven't had too many of those this season, and a focus will be on capitalizing when in the right position. We'll get a whistle blown. Looks like possession will go right back to the Regents.
Yeah, something that maybe has been leading to those offensive struggles a little bit is just maintaining pressure, on the offensive side of the ball. The Cougars will come down, maybe they'll get a quick shot off, and then all of a sudden the ball's heading back towards the defensive end. In soccer, which is already naturally a low-scoring sport, you need to have that constant pressure on the offensive end, so eventually you'll break through. You'll get that goal that you've been looking for however long. But when you're only spending, a few minutes at a time down on the offensive side of the pitch, that's going to make it really hard to score goals. You need that constant pressure, which, again, this women's team has kind of been lacking so far this year. We saw a trace of it at the beginning of the game. Hopefully that comes back around soon.
And if you're a team like the Cougars, definitely cannot afford to squander many of those opportunities. Cougars are working on taking more shots. Haven't taken very many shots in total this season, only 42 throughout the first 4 games, which ranks 9th in the NAC. Definitely looking to increase those numbers as Sheriff will come out of goal, looking to send it deep, and she does. Closest Cougar in the vicinity is Paulsen, who is able to corral it and working down the pitch, taken away by the Regents. Falone comes over, playing tough defense, knocks a player down while she's at it. I believe that was Tessa Del Rosario.
Yeah, Falone always brings a physical play without usually getting the fouls, which is the key in soccer. So we saw right there, she just happened to collide it in a player. Whistle eventually blown, but that also kind of sets the pace. You know that if you're coming to play CUC, these Cougars are going to make it hard for you to come out of it without getting a few bumps and bruises.
Now Siebert trying to handle that one, taken away by the Regents. We see 3 Cougars kind of swarming offense. That back line has played pretty solid in the past couple of games as Paulsen tries to take that one away. Go right onto the track. Now the Regents looking for an opportunity to score here. We'll get the throw in from Osler.
Yeah, on the Rockford side, and kind of a nice bounce back after an opening few minutes where CUC was spending time down towards Rockford's goal. Rockford really maintaining the pressure now. They've spent a decent chunk of time in CUC's half of the pitch. And if you're CUC, that defense, you need to get that ball to the other side. You need to give your defense a little bit of a breather.
We mentioned the Regents, their 3-1 record, currently sitting at 4th in the NAC. And they were projected to finish 13th in the preseason. So this is a team that has done much better than expected, at least in the early going of the season. They're looking to continue their momentum. Those 3 wins coming at Blackburn College week 1, against Eureka, and at Principal, which was their last game. The only loss of the season came on September 8th versus Monmouth College. The Regents fell 4-0. Other than that, this team has looked very solid on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, how a team performs in non-conference games is always kind of a interesting record to look at because you got to look at who they're playing as well. A coach might kind of load up that non-conference schedule with, you don't want to say easy opponents, but teams that are on your level versus, you look at another team, they might be over, but maybe they're playing the best teams in the country. You just don't know without really looking at those non-conference teams and what they've done to be able to get a grip about what these teams have done in non-conference play.
As a little momentum for the Cougars, they're in Rockford territory. An opportunity to potentially score. That one's kicked right back out Cougars looking to make something happen, looking for the holes in any of the Regents' defense. Making the grab is Kaylee Taylor, goalie for the Regents. She'll boot that one deep. Now Brown, one of the senior captains for this team. The Cougars really look to her, as we mentioned on several broadcasts, for vocal leadership. Also leads by example. One of the many seniors on this Cougars team. Not a very young Cougar team. Only 2 freshmen on the roster.
Yeah, Coach Garza, during my weekly interviews with him that you can find on our YouTube page, CUC Sports, he's talked about just kind of the interesting flux that this roster is in right now. As we might have something here.
And a goal! That's the first goal of the season for the Cougars! And Concordia Stadium going wild.
That's a huge goal, like you said, Parker. First goal of the year for the Cougars, and it almost feels like a sigh of relief. You feel that pressure come off the back of these players. Hey, we finally got our first goal. It gives us a lead against a conference team in our first conference game of the year. And like I said earlier, obviously you still want to play offense. You still want to score some goals, but now you can kind of lean on your defense a little bit more, lean on your goalie play. You have goal number 1 of the year. You're up 1-0. Obviously, you want to score some more. 1 goal might not be enough to get it done, but yeah, it kind of feels like a sigh of relief was just released from these players, from the coaching staff on this squad, and now they can really hunker down and become that defensive team that they are known for.
And the Cougars getting a huge monkey off their back as that goal came off the foot of Valeria Fernandez. Just pings right inside the top right corner of the goal, and the Cougars strike first here in River Forest. I also like to correct a mistake I made. This team has 7 freshmen. I'm thinking of the men's soccer team. Only has 2 freshmen on the men's soccer team. Still a more experienced team are the women's soccer team. That ball goes out of bounds off the foot of Paulsen.
Yeah, it didn't end in a goal there, but that's great. That's what you want to see. If you're the Cougars, you have your first goal of the year. Don't let up. Obviously now you're okay with this being more of a defensive battle, but keep on the pressure. See if this kind of opens the floodgates in terms of the scoring. Now that you got goal number 1, keep the pressure on, keep getting those shots up, and obviously you want to rely on your defense. This has been your strength, but don't make them do all the work. Make their life as easy as possible.
We're looking at the box score. The Cougars with 3 shots so far in the match. 2 shots have been on goal, and obviously the goal by Valeria Fernandez. On the other hand, the Regents, 2 shots with 1 shot on goal. So pretty tight matchup so far, but the Cougars getting on the board first and a huge goal from Fernandez. So we'll get a free kick by Taylor. She's looking for teammate Alvarado. The whistle's blown. Falone playing pretty solid defense, but possession will go right back to the Regents.
Yeah, you wonder if that was the goal kick that Taylor was looking for in net for Rockford. Almost looked like she got on top of it too much. Not much, really no airtime on it. It was almost a dead roller on the ground, and that led to CUC being able to keep it in Rockford's end a little longer than Rockford probably would have wanted.
Now Brown trying to take control of it. She'll send it to Kenworthy. Brown tries to get it right back. That one's kicked up in the air by the Regents. Cougars trying to corral the ball once again. Both teams playing pretty solid defense, at least in the midfield. As Kenworthy tries to track that one down, but doesn't get to it in time as it rolls onto the track.
The last touch by Rockford, though, so Cougars end up with the goal kick either way.
Now Bowers is working with it. She tries to find Siebert. The Regents trying to generate a little bit of offense, trying to play catch up. The Cougars hoist the 1-0 lead. A big focus for head coach Eddie Garza will be seeing how the Cougars play with a lead. Haven't been in this position really at all so far this season. So kind of a new outlook for the Cougars. Be interesting to see how they perform throughout the remainder of the match.
Yeah, it is a different way of playing with the lead versus playing with the tie or trying to play catch-up. And CUC hasn't been able to play with the lead yet this year, so kind of a challenge in itself there is how you're going to handle that kind of new outlook on the game, knowing that, hey, this is the first time of the year that we're on top of the other team. They have to play accordingly.
The ball roll out of bounds. An interesting point, if you look at both benches, Rockford doesn't have too many players on the bench as compared to the Cougars. This is a Cougars team who is able to boast more depth than the Regents. That could be a pivotal factor in today's matchup. No, Coach Eddie Garza likes to get some fresh legs in there sometimes to give some of the more experienced players a little bit of a break, especially those that have to play a lot of minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll come to see that come to effect in the second half once these players have been out on the turf a little bit. Their legs start to get tired. The team with the longer bench, of course, has that advantage of more fresh legs. Maybe you can just start outrunning their team as they start coming short in terms of fresh players.
As that ball rolls out of bounds once again, Cougars going back on offense. Looking for something to happen, as I believe that was Paulsen who touched it last. Whistles blow. Coach Eddie Garza coming out, saying something to his team during the little break. We'll get a throw in right here from the Regents. Now a free kick. And Bowers comes out to intercept the pass. Now Brown working with it. She'll take a tumble to the turf, but she's able to find Falone. And it looks like that'll be an offsides on the Cougars. I believe that was Lorena Jaimes working down the field. Excuse me, that was Fernandez who got past the Regents' back line.
It's just a tough break for CUC. That was looking like a golden opportunity to put up another goal on the game, but
it's a pretty aggressive matchup so far. We've seen Brown hit the turf a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams are fighting for a lot other than it is first conference game of the year. CUC looking still for their first win on the season, and Rockford, like you alluded to, Parker, picked to finish towards the bottom of the standings in the NAC. And they kind of, they want that mentality. They have that underdog mentality. You can tell that they're going to come out here. They're going to start proving people wrong. They had a good non-conference schedule performance. So not shocked to see them come out here a little bit feisty, playing some physical soccer.
Now Paulsen running down the pitch with it. That opportunity squandered by the Regents as a host of Rockford players coming out to make the defensive stand.
Yeah, over halfway through this first half here, under 20 minutes to go now. There's the big scoreboard out past Rockford's side of the pitch. So good first half of soccer from CUC. They got their first goal of the year. The defense has looked really strong. Rockford no real good scoring opportunities. Brooke Sheriff does have save or two under her name already. But so far, so good for CUC. If they can get another goal here before we head into the halftime, they're going to head into that halftime break feeling really good about their performance so far.
Both goalies with one save apiece. CUC has done an excellent job of squandering those opportunities that Rockford has had, though few and far between on the offensive end. Now the Cougars looking to get an opportunity of their own as Siebert working with a defender draped all over her. She kind of has to send that one, and coming out to make the grab is Kaylee Taylor in goal for Rockford. Looks like we will get a corner kick by Lucia Falone.
Pamela Sandovar also in the vicinity. Coach Garza really likes to do that, have two players at the corner kick, make the defense guess about who's going to take it and where that second player is going to go.
Nice strategy from Garza for sure. That one is flushed back out. Excellent job of the Regents of clearing it out, and we have a Rockford player down on the pitch. Looks like that might be number 20, Jolene Alvarado. She a little slow to get up. She is up and walking gingerly.
Well, you hope she's okay. That was a really nice defensive play from Mia Osler. That's a good shooting opportunity for Siebert, and Osler kind of came out of nowhere to just get in front of it and knock it out. Obviously results in the corner kick for CUC, but you'd rather that than the ball be in the back of the net.
Corner kick was conducted by Kenworthy. An opportunity right there for the Cougars is no good.
And now that was a nice defensive play. Jolene Alvarado basically playing goalie. That one looked like it was going to roll in, but she was right place, right time, able to knock it out. Give her goalie Taylor a little bit of help.
And the Regents respond with a defensive stop of their own. Get a goal kick from Taylor. She just dumps that one off to her teammate standing on the right side. Now Sandovar. Cougars working on the far side of the pitch. Regents playing pretty stingy defense at this point in the match. Wilkinson McQuaid trying to look for an outlet. Nice clear out right there from Rockford. Kenworthy's able to get back to the ball. Looking for Brown. Cougars looking for any potential holes in that Regents defense. Not able to find many. Looks like Rockford will be going back on offense. Get potential goal kick right here from Taylor once again. Wind started to pick up just a little bit here in River Forest. Not too bad, however. Now Taylor and Falone is able to get to that one first before any Regents. She finds Quetzali Artiega Vasquez. First time we've called her name today. Freshman out of Harrisonburg, Virginia. Now Saldivar working down the middle third. Ball roll out onto the track. And a throw-in will be coming by the Regents. And Alvarado, who was just down on the pitch not too long ago. Good to see her up and running. As Brown finds Siebert, deflected off the shins of Jasmine Landberg for the Regents. Substitution from Rockford as Maggie Basilio coming in for Celia Banza. And whistles blow. Rockford will stay on offense.
Another substitution here for CUC. Coach Garza getting those fresh players in as we're now under 14 minutes away from halftime. So
looks like Falone came out of the game. Also spotted Madeline Loza, number 10, senior from Cicero, Illinois. One of the many seniors on this Cougars team. That's an advantage the Cougars have in the conference. It's a majority of experienced veterans. Get the free kick right here from Rockford. I believe that is Rihanna Tovar. And the Regents trying to make something happen, but that suffocating Cougars defense really showing right now as Martinez trying to dribble in and out. She's tripped up.
That's probably the best offensive chance we've seen from Rockford. That ball spending some nice time in front of the CUC net. They just weren't able to get a good shot off, but they got a great opportunity here. Free kick right in front of the goal box. Cougars defense trying to form that wall. So this is a good chance. Mia Ulstler taking the free kick. She can tie this one up right here.
Osler currently ranked second in the NAC in the assist category with 3. She'll look to get the free kick right here. Nice defense right there from the Cougars, as I believe that was deflected off of Kenworthy. So another nice defensive stand from the Cougars.
Yeah, Regents will get a corner kick out of this one, so another chance for them to make some noise, but good defense there by the Cougars. That shot not even reaching Sheriff and net, making their goalie's life easier.
Now corner kick from the Regents. Nice clear out by CUC. Defense has done an excellent job as Brown takes a hard fall, gets a back up immediately. Now the Cougars back on offense. Defense proves to be strong.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to see out of your defense, especially when you got an offense that is struggling to put goals up on the board. They give you that 1-0 lead. And, again, you want your offense to score. You want them to keep the pressure up, but you can kind of lean back on your defense knowing that is the stronger side of your game so far this year, and they proved why right there.
Now Siebert tries to find Brown, and Brown is just getting knocked around.
Yeah, Rockford came here to play today. They are being physical. Brown, she's been knocked around quite a few times. I think CUC arguing that one should have been a penalty shot. She was pushed down in the box. Refs not showing any love for that opinion, but CUC still deep in the Rockford end.
Rockford showing they're not scared of this CUC team. CUC has really come to play here in the first NAC game of the season. We'll get a throw-in right here from the Cougars as Paulsen will exit the contest. And into the game, I believe, it's number 11, Itzel Calderon, the senior from Oak Lawn, Illinois. And the Regents going to clear that one out. Wilkinson McQuaid trying to track it down, but not able to before it rolls to the Cougar bench. Now, Artiega Vasquez with an opportunity. Nice defense right there from the Regents as we approach the 10-minute mark here in half number 1. Nice defensive stand from the Regents. There's a goal kick right here from Taylor to her teammate Alvarado. Wilkinson McQuaid finds Brown. The pass from Siebert deflected off a couple of Regents. Nice clear out right there from Rockford. Cougars trying to get it back as Artiega Vasquez playing some tough defense. And now Bowers. That kick over the head of Calderon and out of bounds. Get the throw in from Alvarado. Nice defense right there from Saldivar. Regent's going to clear that one out. Trying to get a handle on it was Del Rosario. Just bounces right over her head. Throw in right here from Alvarado once again. Good defense right there from Wilkinson McQuaid. She'll now handle it. Kicks it on over to Calderon. She finds Brown. Brown takes a tumble once again. Really putting her heart on the field for the Cougars this afternoon. She wants this win bad. Now Artiega Vasquez. The Regents trying to make something happen, but that Cougars defense comes through once again. Now Brown finds her teammate Hannah Bowers. Calderon knocks the Regent over and whistles blown. Regents will take right back over on the offensive end. It's a free kick from Alvarado. Nice header right there from Saldivar. Calderon tries to track it down. Excuse me, that was Loza. See if the Regents can get anything going on offense. Right now the possession has been dominated by the Cougars. Now Saldivar working with it in the midfield. Finds Calderon. Good defense right there from Alvarado. She takes it away. Artiega Vasquez tries to come over, but Wilkinson McQuaid now dribbling down the middle of the field. Regents haven't been able to get in Cougar territory as much.
And no one really establishing much offensive dominance here, as that was almost catastrophic for Brooke Sheriff and the Cougars, overplaying that one a little bit, coming out to grab it. She kind of missed it. I think it got poked away from her before she really got possession of it, but luckily goes out the end before Rockford able to do anything with it.
Almost a scary moment for sure. Sheriff a little slow to get up, but she's back up on her feet, and the free kick from Kenworthy. Now Siebert working on the far side. Her and one of the Regents players fall to the pitch. Cougars trying to flush it out. Done that several times here in the first half. Sheriff is going to roll it on out to Artiega Vasquez. Excuse me, no, it's Jaleesa Diaz. Now Diaz trying to work with it. She'll throw it in for the Cougars. Whistles blow, and we're going to get a substitution as Megan Wilkinson McQuaid will exit the contest. And into the game comes number 4, Addison Alexander, the freshman midfielder out of Crystal Lake, Illinois. First time we've seen her today. Now Diaz playing defense up against Del Rosario. Now Diaz will get the throw in right here for the Cougars. Now Loza working with it. Regent's going to get right back to the ball. And Osler trying to find one of her teammates. Now Perea. Regent's trying to make something happen before halftime. We're getting close to that 3-minute mark. That shot misses the net. It goes far left.
Yeah, Rockford definitely wants to get some momentum here before teams head to the halftime break. Even if it's not a goal, even if they still go into halftime down 1-0, they want to be able to say that we did generate some offense. We got some looks on net. So when they come out in the second half, they have something to build off of, which they really don't right now. They've had maybe 1-2 good shots at a goal. But as we've been reiterating time and time again, this Cougars defense making life extremely difficult for Rockford.
Looking at the box score, the shot total is even for both teams. Rockford with 5 shots and the Cougars with 5 shots. So it's been primarily a defensive game, but Cougars able to get off the board with the goal from Valeria Fernandez that came earlier in the first half. First goal of the season for the Cougars. Now Artiega Vasquez working with it on the near side. So we approach 2-minute mark. There's 2 minutes left in the first half. That ball will trickle out of bounds. Another throw in right here from Jaleesa Diaz. Time winding down here in the first half. Diaz will find Saldivar. That'll deflect off of her shins and out of bounds. Now the Regents, another opportunity on offense. Nice deflection. I believe that went off of Glodowski. Grace Glodowski, first time we've called her name today. She wasn't a starter in today's game, but came in a little earlier in the half.
Yeah, one of those leaders off the bench for Coach Garza, senior on the squad, and like you said, Parker, one of the first players to sub into the game for the home team. So Coach Garza likes that senior leadership leading in the first wave of subs.
We've seen quite a few seniors come off the bench for the Cougars. That really just speaks to the depth the CUC team has. Now 30 seconds to go in the first half. Defense has been solid on both sides. This is primarily a defensive affair here in the first half. Ten seconds. Cougars making it hard on the Regents for them to get a shot off if they are able to. Won't be a good one, and they will not. Cougars will go into halftime with the 1-0 lead. Cougar goal coming from Valeria Fernandez. Peter, we're taking a look at the box score. The Regents have taken more shots than the Cougars. 6 shots in the first half for Rockford, only 5 for CUC. But it's been primarily a defensive game. What were your main takeaways from the first half?
Well, like you said, Parker, defense is the name of the game right now. And even though, shots are about equal, we really haven't seen that many high-quality shots from either team. These defenses are playing some really suffocating soccer. These goalies are, they're not having extremely difficult saves to make over and over again. So I think a lot of this halftime talk from both coaches is largely going to be about what can we do to break through this defense and start putting up some high-quality shots over and over again, because eventually that's how you're going to beat the keepers. You keep the pressure on, you keep your foot on the pedal, and one way or the other, one of those shots will find their way through. But when you're only getting one shot every, however many minutes, and it's not even that high quality of a shot, these goalies, they're going to be on top of the ball. They both played well today, and the defense is doing a good job of making it so.
And if you're just tuning in, the Cougars with the 1-0 advantage over conference foe Rockford University. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back for more action here on the Cougar Sports Network.
Concordia University Chicago is a Christ-centered Lutheran university where truth, freedom, and vocation form students for lives of influence and service for the common good. Our university offers a wide variety of undergraduate and graduate degree options that are available in person and online. That means we have a program designed for you. Whether you're a high school student, an adult returning to complete your degree, or someone looking to enhance your credentials and prepare for career growth. As a member of this university community, you'll also find support in your spiritual and personal life so you can grow in the faith and discover ways to serve others. To start your next journey with us, visit cuchicago.edu today.
CUC nursing student and choose to stand tall for healing at a university that places Christ at the center and embraces teaching students to live a life fulfilled by purpose and meaning. Concordia University Chicago's new Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree is an innovative and rigorous 4-year program that will prepare you to rise to the daily challenges of a rewarding nursing career and serve a greater cause. Our newly built modern simulation center features 4 distinct spaces: a skills attainment lab, multi-specialty intensive care spaces, a health assessment learning center, and a simulated home environment. Due to our close proximity to many world-class teaching hospitals, CUC's clinical rotations offer an abundance of diverse and real-world experiences. Learn more about earning your BSN at a Christ-centered university today.
Interested in finding out more about Concordia Chicago? Head to cuchicago.edu for more information on our university.
We appreciate you tuning in to today's game and hope to see you at CUC very soon.
or the nearby downtown of Oak Park and River Forest. The flexible suite-style living in fully furnished bedrooms lets students choose what works best for them. Every floor is complete with a community lounge and full common kitchen, with a kitchenette, microwave, sink, and refrigerator. The first floor offers the Victory Lounge, connecting to 2 additional residence halls, with no shortage of ways to relax. You're also right next to an open, outdoor plaza, better known as Victory Lane.
So now we're here in Concordia Hall's suite-style dorm room, and this is a really nice place to just hang out and chill. And since it's so big, there's plenty of room to spread out and do your homework and just relax. So now making our way into one of the bedrooms, there's plenty of space in this room for you and your roommate. A lot of times students will move the desks so that they've got their separate study space, but my roommate and I, we get along really well, so we can just work together here in the same space. Sometimes I like doing art as well, as you can see by the painting here. It's a 16 by 10 feet space, and most rooms on campus are 10 by 12 feet. So it's really nice to have a little extra space to work with here in Concordia Hall. So this hall is super close to the chapel and the Kennedy Community Center, which has the new Crossroads Dining Hall. So the location is super convenient. And I really love the city scene too. The location here is the closest on campus to the Oak Park River Forest downtown area, which has a ton of great stores and restaurants. Speaking of the city scene, I adore the view from this lounge because you can see the Chicago skyline right there.
Concordia Hall at Concordia University, Chicago.
Cougar fans, head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics. Click on the sports tab and enter women's soccer to find rosters, schedules, stats, and more. Again, the website is CUCougars.com for everything women's soccer. As we're getting ready to start the second half here in River Forest, Cougars with the 1-0 advantage over conference foe, the Regents of Rockford University. The first goal of the game and only goal of the game coming off the left foot of Valeria Fernandez in the first half. First goal of the season for the Cougars, but Peter, as we pointed out in the first half, this has been a primarily defensive matchup.
Yeah, this is a defensive-oriented team. It's been that way since Coach Garza took over as head coach of the Cougars last year, and that is ringing strong this year. Again, through their first 4 games, they've allowed 3 goals, 1 goal, 2 goals, and 2 goals. And so far today, they've got that shutout going strong. Brooke Sheriff has looked solid in net, but thankfully her defense has not made her life a lot of work. And so CC, again, you'd love to get at least another goal here. That insurance marker, always a big one, but kind of a sigh of relief that if you need to, you can just sit back and rely on your defense a little bit until that offense hopefully finds another goal.
Brooke Sheriff only 1 save on the game today. That Cougars back line not allowing much from Rockford. And just looking at the box score, 6 shots in the first half from the Regents. Only 1 of those shots have been on goal for the Cougars. 5 shots, 3 shots on goal. And, of course, the 1 goal from Valeria Fernandez. The Cougars looking to tack on a couple more goals here in the second half to kind of keep that momentum going as the CUC starters have made their way back on the field. Just waiting for the Regents of Rockford University as they break the huddle on the far corner of the field.
Yeah, Coach Michael Heefsteck really making sure his team is locked in. They did not have a ton of great offensive looks in that first half. Maybe 1 or 2 that could have resulted in a goal if the ball bounced a little differently. But first conference game of the year, you have a chance to steal one on the road, which is always a tall task in conference play. So Coach Heefstick, wanted to make sure his team is in order. They could come out and get the 1 goal necessary in the second half to at least force some extra soccer.
And we mentioned in the beginning of the broadcast, the Regents have been a pretty solid road team here in the early going of the season. That 2-0 record as they look to kind of bounce back from a rough first half. The Cougars trying to keep the momentum on their side. We're underway here in the second half as Siebert working with it on the near side, trying to find Paulsen. And it looks like we're going to get offsides here early in the second half, not even 20 seconds into the half.
Yeah, whoever comes out in the second half, and this goes true for any soccer game, whoever comes out in that second half on, gears firing, they're putting up shots, they're putting up pressure, that's usually an indicator of who made the right halftime adjustments and who didn't. So both these teams are going to look to establish that second half dominance early here. And CUC looking to pull away 1-0 on conference play, while Rockford, they're looking to at least tie this one up.
Yeah. We mentioned it. It's one thing losing those non-conference games. Obviously, no team wants to lose any games, but it's a completely different beast when you're playing NAC regular season play. A win against Rockford today would be monumental for the Cougars. The Regents currently sitting at 4th in the NAC, and on the other hand, the Cougars sitting at dead last in the conference. Definitely looking to bounce back from a rough start to the regular season. So far, Cougars have done just that, at least in the first half. Now you just got to finish the match.
And in terms of playing Rockford specifically, as you mentioned earlier, Parker, this is a team, they're picked to finish towards the bottom of the NAC standings in the preseason poll, and a lot can change between the preseason poll and the actual season, but if you're CEC, who was right around middle of the pack in the preseason poll, you need to take care of these teams who are, people are looking at saying, yeah, they're going to be towards the bottom. You need to take care of these teams so when you play those top-tier teams that you kind of have those extra wins stored under your belt.
Any conference win is a good win. Doesn't matter if you were towards the bottom of the conference or towards the top. A win is a win, and the Cougars are trying to accomplish that feat, something that hasn't been accomplished since last season. We'll get a throw-in right here from Lorena Hymas, who was a starter for this Cougars team, the junior out of Berwyn, Illinois. Now offense will go right back to the Regents. Hymas and Kenworthy trying to make life difficult for the Regents offense, as they did in the first half. Been pretty suffocating defense from the Cougars. Haven't allowed much offensively speaking for the Regents. Now a free kick from Alvarado. Mentioned her names a couple times. She's had a couple throw-ins, couple free kicks for Rockford. And the Regents looked like they might have had an opportunity, but the ball races out of bounds. Now Sheriff, she will roll it to Kenworthy. Kenworthy will do the free kick honors for the Cougars, as she has all season long. Wind starting to pick up just a little bit more here in River Forest. Hasn't affected gameplay so far, as Kenworthy sends that one into a cluster of players from either side. And now Cougars get another free kick from Kenworthy once again. She'll send it to Sheriff, who sends it back to Hymas. Peter, if you're the Cougars, what are you trying to do on offense at this stage in the game?
The main thing is just possession. You don't want to give Rockford any chance to get their offense in gear and tie this one up. I mean, they say the best defense is a good offense, just keeping it on Rockford's side of the field. They can't score from around their own goal. So, obviously, you want high-quality shots. You want good looks, all that pretty obvious stuff, obvious traits of a good offense. But if anything, you just want to keep it on Rockford's side of the 50-yard line. Make sure that your defense gets all the breaks they need. Brooke Sheriff isn't going to get tired out in goal. That'll be a good way to keep Rockford off the board as you hunt for that second goal.
Now the Cougars in Regent territory, as a yellow card was given to Mia Osler for unsporting. So Cougars trying to capitalize on the opportunity. Haven't seen too many yellow cards in the early going of the season. The first yellow card of today's match.
Kind of surprising, when you take into account how physical this game has been. Plenty of players are ending up on the turf. We kept mentioning Allie Brown, in particular for CUC, seemed to keep getting pushed around. Keeps getting back up, though, which is what you want to see out of one of your captains. But a little surprised to see that first yellow card with just how physical these two teams are.
You can tell the Regents are starting to get a little frustrated because of how they have fared in today's matchup. Not the team that we've seen in the first 4 games of the season. And Peter, you highlighted that it's one thing when it's maybe weaker non-conference opponents, and it's a completely different thing when it is a conference opponent.
Yeah, and even if you want to bring in preseason polls or records once we get deep into conference play, I mean, anything can happen on any given day when it comes to conference play. The worst team in the conference standing-wise can upset the number 1 team just because, you play with a little bit more energy when it comes to conference play. You're playing with a bit of pride as conference schools are usually rivals of your team. So standings, good indicator of overall season success, but they don't mean a lot in terms of predicting conference games.
As Brown hits the turf once again. Now Falone working with it in the midfield. She'll send it to Siebert. Siebert showing off the speed. She's able to keep it away from defender Tessa Del Rosario. And a whistle blown by one of the on-field referees. Looks like offensive possession will go right back to Rockford. And a goal kick upcoming from Kaylee Taylor. Taylor still in goal for the Regents. Sheriff still in goal for the Cougars. And that ball goes out of bounds. I thought it was really interesting. Sheriff got her first start of the season in replacement of Alani Burnell. So Coach Garza just really seeing what he has in goal for the Cougars.
And when it comes to changing goalies up a little bit, more in terms of starting goalies, as we've seen Coach Garza change his goalies plenty of times already this year, but when it comes to putting a new starter in, it's almost like a bit of a, you don't want to say a wake-up call because it's not as if Burnell has been performing poorly. It's the exact opposite of that, but it kind of puts your team on edge a little bit to say, hey, that even a starting goalie is playing really, really well. Coach Garza is willing to change things up if he likes something that Sheriff brings a little bit more to this specific matchup. So sometimes just the, you don't want to say shock necessarily, but just the impact that changing your goalie strategy can awaken your team a little bit here. And Cougars came out firing probably the best offensive performance we'd seen out of them up to this point in the season, and they got their first goal out of it.
And we haven't seen a whole lot of action from either goalie, and that's just due to the limited amount of shots by both sides. Sheriff with only one save in her 51 minutes of play. Kaylee Taylor with 2 saves, 1 goal allowed, and her time on the field as well. That kick from Landberg way over the net. And a goal kick from Sheriff. She kicks that to Bowers, and ball is deflected and out of bounds. So Cougars trying to get out of their own territory right here. It was a similar formation to last time, but Sheriff will send it to Kenworthy instead. Kenworthy approached by a couple of Regents. She tries to find Hymes, but that pass a little inaccurate and out of bounds, and we'll get the throw in from Del Rosario. Good defense right there from Kenworthy. Now Hymes try to find Brown. Brown knocks a Regent over while she's at it. I believe that was Del Rosario once again. Whistle blown, and possession will go right back to the Regents. Now Kenworthy set for the free kick. That's one of her many responsibilities. The junior out of New Lenox, Illinois. Now Hymes trying to find Falone in the middle third. Now Paulsen. She finds Fernandez, who has a full head of steam. Ball will roll onto the track. We saw Fernandez. We've mentioned it several times because it's been the highlight of the game. Her goal coming earlier in the first half. The lone goal of the game. First goal of the season for the Cougars, and much needed. And now a corner kick by a pair of Cougars. So Coach Garza really trying to keep that defense guessing. This ball misses the mark, and This is the right side of the net. We'll get a goal kick from Taylor. Paulson comes up to play defense. The Regents trying to get it out of their own territory. It's been hard. Defense has done a good job of the Cougars of just keeping the Regents on their side of the field. Now an opportunity right here for the Regents. Looks like it might be squandered as Wilkinson McQuaid just boots it out and clears for the Cougars. Get a throw in from Del Rosario. And now Brown playing tough defense on Alvarado. Paulson takes it away. She's tripped up by Alvarado.
I love the pressure there by Brown. Regent player just seemed content with handling it a little bit, trying to get the break going back towards the Cougar goal, and Brown instead forces her to make a decision, and that eventually led to a turnover. So just a heads-up play there by Allie Brown, making that Regent player be decisive. And usually when you force someone to be decisive when they don't want to, that leads to a mistake.
Very high IQ play from Brown, and really just speaks to her experience. Starter all 4 years for the Cougars. Plays with a lot of heart. You can really tell she wants the win today. Wins have been very sparse for the Cougars this season and last. Now the Regents trying to make something happen, and Kenworthy is able to intercept the pass. Hymas not able to get to it before it rolls out of bounds. Throw in from Landberg about to take place. Nice header right there from Siebert. Tell the wind starting to pick up more and more as the match progresses. Sun starting to poke its head out a little bit more in the second half as well. It was partly cloudy in the first. Now sunny and a little cool here in today's conditions for the game. Kenworthy able to corral it. Trying to keep it away from the Regents. She's tripped up by Jasmine Landberg. And once again, Kenworthy will do the free kick honors. Trying to find Siebert, who is the closest Cougar in the vicinity. Now Hymas will jog on over to conduct the throw-in. It goes off the foot of Falone, but believe ball was last touched by a Regent. So Cougars remain on offense as we get a substitution. It looks like Megan Wilkinson McQuaid will exit, and into the game is, I believe that is Artiega Vasquez. No, excuse me, that's number 23, Julissa Diaz. Now Kenworthy sends that to Bowers, who tries to find Hymas.
It's a little troublesome for the Cougars. You could hear some other players on CUC yelling about where they should have set that ball, but you can't really play give and go in your own end, especially when Rockford is right on top of them. Fortunately, Cougars able to avoid any kind of costly turnover.
Cougars have done a nice job of just keeping the ball away from the Regents, not allowing for many opportunities. Cougars not as many offensive opportunities, but have made the most of the ones that they've had. Now we'll get a corner kick right here from the Regents. Number 2, Peyton Scott, junior out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. That ball will take a bounce onto the track. Kind of encloses the football/soccer field here on the campus of Concordia University Chicago. Now Kenworthy raises her hand for the free kick. She tries to find Diaz. Ultimately, the Regents take it away. Good clear out for the Cougars, and now Paulson just ahead of that front line. Another offsides. That'll be the 5th offsides penalty on the Cougars. So 5 offsides penalties for CUC, only 1 for the Regents. Cougars typically aren't a highly penalized team, only 30 in total so far in the season, not including the ones today. That ranks 8th in the NAC. Now Paulson will clear that one out. And Kenworthy tracks it down. Trying to find Paulson once again. Ends up in possession of a Regent. And Hymas knocks over Rockford player while she's at it. I believe that was number 6, Maggie Pasilo, freshman out of Atoka, Tennessee. Nice to see another fellow Tennessean out here.
They're around. I'm going to look for them.
A little few and far between, but get back to action here in River Forest. Looks like we'll get a substitution for the Regents. Coming into the game, number 7, Daisy Martinez.
Soccer big down in Tennessee, or I know it's football country down there, but
it is primarily football country, but we did just get an MLS team. They're doing pretty well, Nashville SC.
There you go.
Nashville was popping when Leo Messi came to town and Inter Miami.
Yeah. Now he's in the States.
Trying to make MLS big in the world of soccer.
Ooh, that could have been bad for Brooke Sheriff. Kind of caught our off guard there. Ended up pursuing it, but, I mean, that's a couple feet to its left. That could easily have slipped into the goal, I think, and Sheriff fell over. It was clearly safe of the goal, but she decided to go for it. Still, Rockford maybe getting a few more chances here. They've had some decent possession this second half. Some good halftime adjustments. They're still looking for that one to break through, beat Brooke Sheriff for the first time today, and they got half of the second half left to go before that regulation buzzer ends, and they need to find at least one goal before then to force some extra soccer.
Still, the story of the game is defense. Not a lot of shots attempted by either side here in the second. We'll get a throw in from the Regents and Del Rosario. A nice clear out by Bowers. just have squandered so many opportunities that the Regents have had. Only one shot on goal from the Regents in today's game. Ball goes out of bounds, and possession will go right back to the Cougars.
Some substitutions. First, Coach Garza making them as we're about to hit that halfway point of the second half. See Gladowski coming back in. Her senior role off of the bench to kind of lead those substitution units, and then also is Medellin Loza.
So some more fresh legs for the Cougars. Coach Eddie Garza loves to get those substitutions, loves to insert them into the game. Nice defensive play by Saldivar. Now Gladowski tries to make something happen. Has that taken away by the Regents. Believe that'll be an offsides penalty on the Regents. Only the second one of the afternoon. Called on Rockford. Kenworthy set to do the free kick. Bowers on her right. Fernandez on her left. She tries to find Brown, and now Siebert dribbles in and out of defenders. Really nice footwork from her. That pass from Falone tried to track it down was Loza, and she does. Kind of was stuck in the corner and has that one stripped and out of bounds by the Regents, but possession will remain with the Cougars. And looking to do the corner kick is Falone, and also standing next to her is Brown. Really like this strategy from Coach Garza.
Yeah, puts the defense in motion before you even send the ball towards the goal. So, they already have the unpredictability of what players are doing in front of the goal, but now you have to worry about two players coming in motion off the ball. Can maybe draw another defender away from the goal, kind of clear things up. So a lot of advantages to it rather than a more traditional corner kick where you just send it towards a heap of bodies in front of the goal and hope someone gets a piece of it.
Now Brown working with it in the middle third. Finds Gladowski. Now Bowers will just send that one over to Loza, who finds Diaz, who's streaking down the far side of the pitch. She's able to corral it, and Brown just sends it out of bounds. We're now at the 20-minute mark here in the second half. All around solid performance from the Cougars thus far.
Another quick sub here as Gladowski's already back out of the game, and it's another thing having a deep bench affords you if you're Coach Garza for CUC is that you can sub in and out, particular players for particular plays, assuming you get the ability to sub them. But if you want player X instead of player Y when you're on the offensive end of the board, well, Coach Garza has enough bodies to afford that. If you want player Y back in because it's mostly been a defensive possession, then he can do that as well. So other than having fresh legs to just keep energy levels high, having a bountiful bench has other more strategic advantages.
Into the game for Gladowski comes Quetzali Artiega Vasquez. And once again, conducting the free kick is Melika Kenworthy. Now Kenworthy. She's tripped up by Martinez. Funny story. I accidentally called Kenworthy a sophomore on one of the broadcasts. She made sure to let me know that she is, in fact, a junior. So I made sure I got that one right today.
Kenworthy, like you said, Parker, indeed a junior, is in her third year, has been receiving regular minutes since she got here as a freshman a few years ago, despite the fact that the Cougars had a coach change between her freshman and sophomore year. Coach Garza coming in last season, but just shows you what kind of player Kenworthy is, that even with two different coaches, you're able to get consistent minutes.
CUC has a plethora of players who looked upon to play a lot of minutes. We've seen Brown has played the majority of the game. Lucia Falone, Juliana Paulsen, also a lot of minutes. Kenworthy, Fernandez, all of them have played majority of this match. Now Loza tries to find Paulsen with an excellent opportunity. That shot, nice save right there from Kaylee Taylor. Paulsen was streaking down the field with a full head of steam. Good opportunity from her, but just a really nice save right there from Taylor, who makes her third save of the day. Played in the entirety of the match for the Regents.
Yeah, that can be hard sometimes for a goalie to have so few saves. You kind of got to walk that fine line of you don't want to get pelted with shots, just a barrage of shot after shot, because then you're just going to get worn out. But you also don't want to face too few shots that you aren't warm, you aren't in that mindset of needing to make a save. So for someone who hasn't had a ton of action this game in terms of shot saving, good job there by Taylor. Another nice piece there of making sure she's still in it mentally, even though she hasn't been exactly engaged the whole game.
Kenworthy just boots that one out of bounds. Now the Regents try to get something going on offense. Their shot total up to 9.
Yeah, but despite that, not a lot of them finding the net. They got to start putting them more on net, making Sheriff work, and eventually one will have to find its way through. But at some point, when you're needing a goal with less than 16 minutes to go in regulation, you just got to start putting the ball towards the net and hope you get a lucky bounce here or there. Controlled possession is great. Finding that right shot is great, but at some point you got to start playing some desperation soccer.
I know it's early in the season, but I'm still a little shocked from what I've seen by the Regents on the offensive end. They rank first in the NAC and goals scored with 17. Just have not looked like the same team they've been in the first 4 games of the season as compared to now. Now trying to find Paulsen. Taylor will come out of goal. Rolls it to Landberg. Falone comes up to make a nice defensive play.
Yeah, and that last one, Del Rosario, nice play against Paulsen. Paulsen was trying to beat Taylor out for that ball towards the net, and number 16 in purple for Rockford, she did a good job of just keeping Paulsen off her line, making it extremely hard for her to get to that ball, and Del Rosario gave her keep enough time to come out and grab it.
Now Taylor just boots that one. Nice header right there from Fernandez. She'll send it on back to Kenworthy, who now finds Bowers. And that goes off the foot of Julissa Diaz. Now Brown working with it. Kind of entrapped by 3 Regents. That ball rolls out of bounds towards the Rockford bench. It's kind of a busy day for Rockford head coach Michael Vistek. He's also the head coach of the men's soccer team, who is going to host the Concordia men's soccer team tonight at 7. So immediately after the game, he'll head back to Rockford to coach the men's team against the Cougars. That ball will roll out of bounds. And the Regents try to get out of their own territory. No, excuse me, it looks like we'll get a corner kick from the Cougars over on the far side of the pitch. Whistles blow and possession will go right back to the Regents.
We've had a violation there on the corner kick for CUC. Or the ball just barely touched out of bounds, but either way, Rockford now they really have to start putting the ball towards the net, hoping they get a lucky bounce, because they got less than 12 and a half minutes now to make something happen and at least force some overtime.
13 fouls now on the Cougars. Typically, this Cougars team averages about 14 fouls in the second half this season, or it has totaled 14 fouls in second halves this season. So lots of fouls by both sides, as the Regents with 10 fouls, so double-digit fouls for both sides. As time continues to wind down in the second half. Deep pass from the Regents. And Sheriff will come and clear it out.
Yeah, so those are some of those plays that a goalie can make that, has an impact other than, of course, saving the balls, coming out and making a play like that, erasing that offensive chance and giving your defense some time to get down into your own end. So might not show up on the stat sheet, but plays like that we just saw from Sheriff, just as important as, catching a shot in your hands.
Now the Cougars try to clear it out, but Paulsen comes over, plays some tough defense. Paulsen's played some pretty good minutes here in today's match. Senior out of Villa Park, Illinois. Called her name quite a bit on the broadcast today.
Yeah, she's usually all over the field for CUC. One of the faster players you will see out there. So, accordingly, she's everywhere usually.
The Cougars have a lot of those speedsters on the team. Not a really large team, but they make up for that in speed and toughness. As Falone plays nice defensive play in the midfield, she's now running with it. Gets it to her teammate, Julissa Diaz. She's not able to get to it all the way before the ball goes out of bounds. Out of play.
And less than 10 minutes to go in regulation. Nice long possession here. Could go a long way for CUC. Wipe off some minutes off the board. They got to get a turnover here, but give your defense one final chance to figure things out before the final push.
And Rockford with looks like an opportunity potentially. Defensive backline of the Cougars quick to get back and prevent anything. And now Fernandez, she'll knock over a Regent. Believe that was number 14, Jasmine Landberg.
It's a good chance here for Rockford. Might not be able to score off this free kick unless it's a really well-placed shot, but you could at least put it towards the net, set up someone really nicely.
And now Alvarado will send that one and not able to convert. are the Regents. Sheriff didn't really have to do much on that possession.
So that was the look. Nice setup pass. Someone got a piece of it. Probably just got a piece of it too early, however, as it comes up short, goes wide right of the net. But CUC with 8:20 left to go in regulation. Go downfield and just spend some time in Rockford's end playing that kind of gridlock style of soccer this team does so often, which is not really move the needle any one way and just keep the ball where it is.
And now Diaz with it in the middle third. She finds Siebert, who's able to get in on the action. And we'll get a couple substitution as Siebert just came into the game, and also with that number 9, Pamela Saldivar. And for the first time today, number 16, Denise Carr, who was a starter earlier in the season. Now her role is primarily coming off the bench.
Again, that's what those non-con games are, for figuring that out.
As that shot goes right over the outstretched arms of Sheriff and into the net, and Rockford gets on the board. Daisy Martinez. That shot, kind of an overarching shot. Sheriff had her hands straight up in the air. Just see that Sheriff listed as 5'2" on the roster, just not able to get her outstretched arms far enough. Just that shot goes right over Sheriff and into the goal. And that is goal number 3 on the season for Daisy Martinez. And we're tied at 1-1 here in River Forest.
So that's one of the difficulties about playing goalie in soccer is, as obvious as it might sound, it's just how big the net is, but not even left to right, which is what you might think of, but even vertically. I mean, if you are not an extraordinarily tall player, it's hard to cover every part of the net from bottom to top. And when you have someone like Sheriff, who, like you said, Parker, is not, one of the taller players, one of the taller goalies you're going to see, if you can just arc that ball right, you can get it over a lot of goalies' hands who are not able to cover that vertical distance. So credit the Rockford shooter on that one. Did just enough oomph on it to clear the hands of Sheriff and find the back of the net. And might have not been the prettiest goal, but it's tied us up. And now instead of the Cougars being 6 minutes away from their first win of the year, we're less than 6 minutes now away from overtime.
When sitting at a tie, no complaints from the Rockford side. They'll take whatever they can get, and that's the first goal allowed on the season from Sheriff, who has played the entire game thus far.
And that one's not on Sheriff. That was a good shot in front of the net, a well-placed shot. I mean, when the ball is that close, that's a goal. There's not much you can do about it other than just rely on your instincts, hope you could get a piece of it. But again, that ball had such a good arc on it, just getting able to bounce over Sheriff.
Very well-placed shot from Daisy Martinez. We're now at the 5-minute mark. The Cougars, what looked like could be their first win of the season, now sitting at a tie, trying to generate some late offense to try to pull this one out here in River Forest.
So the important thing now is really possess offensively. Rockford, they're going to have a little bit of momentum. They just scored a late tying goal. That always gets your team fired up. You do not want Rockford back down on your end with that momentum. So keep it in the offensive end. Try and get that game-winning goal, of course, but at least force overtime. Rockford, if they get towards the Cougars' net, they might be feeling pretty good right now, good enough that they can find that winning goal.
And we're going to get a throw in from Landberg as the Regents try to make a late push here in River Forest. They're now under the 4-minute mark, tied at 1 apiece. And now Fernandez calls out to her team, and the throw in, looking for Denise Carr. Now Kenworthy will kick it back to Fernandez, who's working with a couple of Regents on her back. Now Jaleesa Diaz trying to dribble in and out of trouble. Not able to do that. And Paulson coming out of nowhere. Tough defensive play by her. She'll boot that one to Siebert, who's running down the far side. Tries to get it to Carr. Clear out from the Regents. And now Bowers send it right back to Siebert. Now that ball will roll out of bounds and go towards the bench of the Cougars. And the goalie will come out of net, and the Cougars get a goal! Late goal for the Cougars gives them the 2-1 lead as Kaylee Taylor came out a goal, and an excellent opportunity as the Cougars convert to get the lead.
Yeah, a costly play by Taylor there. She's going to be thinking about that one for a while. It's always kind of the question when it comes to goalie plays. How aggressive do you be? Do you come out and try to make a play like that, or you wait back, hope your defense can do something, and just wait back towards, the goal line? But Taylor, she came out, and credit the two Cougars in pursuit there, with Paulson eventually getting the goal of just staying in pursuit, staying on the ball. And that's why they're able to kick it past Taylor, stay on top of it, and make sure it ends in the goal. So all of a sudden, they're less than 2 minutes away now from pulling off their first win of the year after Rockford looked like they had just forced extra soccer today.
And that goal coming off the left foot of Juliana Paulson, her first goal of the season. We were just talking about her, and now she comes through for the Cougars as CUC retakes the lead 2-1, less than 2 minutes to go here in the second half. Comes at a perfect time for CUC. Cougars coming into today, not a single goal scored, and they now have 2 in today's contest versus the Regents. Great performance from CUC.
Not done yet. They got less than 90 seconds to go, but Rockford has a lot of energy right now. Their head coach, you can hear him from up here in the booth on the sideline. He's very, very animated, trying to get this team in gear. He knows that they are so close to stealing the game from CUC here today.
Less than a minute to go here in River Forest. Cougars doing everything in their power to close this one out. They're trying to stop a late Rockford push as Rockford in Concordia territory. And now Siebert, looks like it is Kladowski, who's running with it. Ball will go out of bounds as time continues to wind down. 15 seconds. Rockford on the opposite side of the field, looking like a comeback will be improbable. Now, corner kick from Brown. Taylor will come out of net, and that'll do it. The Cougars, their first win of the season as they beat conference opponent Rockford University 2-1 off of a late goal from Juliana Paulsen. It was a big win for the Cougars. And really, Peter, any win you can get in the NAC is a huge win at that.
Yeah, it might have not been the prettiest thing. Things weren't looking great there after Rockford tied it with less than 10 minutes to go, and it looked like we were heading to overtime after CUC had been up for so long. But, like I said, a few times, sometimes all you need is that lucky bounce. You need Taylor to kind of make a mistake, come out, mishandle the ball, get it behind her while she's way out of position. Sometimes that's all it takes to get the game-winning goal. CUC, credit their effort, credit their work ethic. This was a very physical game. Rockford came in. Players were spending a lot of time down on the turf. Nothing, not insinuating anything dirty, but that's just the nature of the collegiate soccer game sometimes. These two teams, both physical squads, as we saw here today. And just what a gritty, hard win for CUC. This is going to go a long way come conference, the heart of the conference schedule. And kind of on a positive, another positive out of this one is CUC gets the win. They have another non-con game now on Sunday against Lake Forest College. They will have a conference game on Saturday, but after that game, they'll have one more non-con game to kind of tune up what they learned from this one, what they'll learn from Saturday's game. So when they can hit the heart of conference schedule, everything figured out, and hopefully by the time we get to that point, they got 2 conference wins under their belt, but we'll have to wait till Saturday to see if that comes true.
And with the win, the Cougars move to 1-4 on the season, 1-0 in conference play, and with the loss, Rockford University drops to 3-2, 0-1 in the conference. Quick look ahead for both teams as first for the Regents, they will host Wisconsin Lutheran College on Saturday. Kickoff set for 1 o'clock, and a busy weekend for the Cougars as they host Lakeland University on Saturday. Kickoff also set for 1 p.m. Theme is Country Day, so come out in your best country attire. And a quick turnaround as they'll host non-conference opponent Lake Forest College on Sunday. Kickoff also set for 1 o'clock. Again, the Cougars beat the Regents 2-1. Real quick, want to give a shout out to our team that was able to make this production possible. Over on the field side table was Rafael Gonzalez. And joining me up in the booth, color analyst Peter Borkowski. We're under the direction of Sydney Pulaskis-Laher and our sports information director, Kayla McLeod. As for me, I'm Parker Kelly signing off. We'll see you soon on the Cougar Sports Network.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.